you have pointed out in the white paper repeatedly about the weaknesses in institutions like Metro Water, like Water Board, losing PSUs, and of course the big elephant, which is the tangent code. Is there a thinking in your mind of an overarching approach to improving institutions, or would you be tackling it problem by problem? I mean, for example, Water Board, I find, has a huge pension liability, much more than its salary liability, and I can't see
Yeah,
why Chennai Metro Water is losing so much money. So I want your thoughts on institutional improvements, sir.
so I think there are two components to this. I think on the revenue side, as I've said in some other interview before, I think the philosophy drives everything, and it is a common philosophy. And the common philosophy that I stated in the assembly is எல்லோருக்கும் எல்லாம் சமூக பொருளாதார நீதிக்கு ஏற்ப. So we want to provide everything for everybody, not for free, but based on their ability to pay for it or based on their actual need for it. As opposed to what is happening now, and I said that in Tamil again, I said, யாரெல்லாம் எதையெல்லாம் கைப்பற்ற முடியுமோ அதையெல்லாம் எடுத்துக்கொள்ளலாம். So that's basically where we are. So from a revenue perspective, whether it is buses, whether it is water, whether it is property tax, whether it is electricity, our philosophy is very clear. We want it to be very progressive. We want eventually to be indexed to inflation or something. I made that point again, that the government's revenues are all fixed. They have no correlation to inflation. 60% of the government's expenses, which are salaries and pensions, are effectively inflation indexed because of the twice a year DA reset. So this makes no sense if you're any business owner or any financial company owner where you have assets and liabilities that are both financial. It's ridiculous that you should have this fundamental mismatch between your assets and liabilities, or one indexed and one not. And there's a social justice issue also. Why is it that salaries and pensions of government workers are indexed effectively, but widows and disabled people and senior citizens don't get any indexation, and they've had the same 1,000 rupees for the last 10 months? Are they not subject to inflation? So there are some profound issues. So from a revenue perspective, I don't really think there's that much difference in how you approach the problem. From expense and management and administration perspective, of course, they are fundamentally different problems. At TNEB, the line loss is as much a component as the excessive kind of salary structure. If you take the transport unions, transport corporations, it is a completely different picture. For 1 rupee of revenue, the wage bill itself is 1.5 rupees. Before you get to pensions, before you get to diesel, before you get to the amortization of the buses, for a rupee of revenue, you already got 1.5 rupees of wages. If you go to places like Metro Water and Quad, I think these need some one-time reset. They have already done the hard work, which is, I think we point out that either in Quad or Metro Water, one of them, there are 9,000 something pensioners for 2,500 employees. So at least we have automated, we have improved the functioning, we have brought it down to a level where we don't have such a heavy workforce and a labor cost. So the question is, how do you sustain these 9,500 employees? Because relative to the total pension pool of the government of Tamil Nadu, these are not that high. So do we find a way to restructure the pension liabilities and at least let the TWAD be kind of clean, do a one-time swap or something? So though I think the cost side, the liability side, the administrative side will require unique solutions for each entity. I think the revenue side, the basic philosophy will dictate what will be effectively very similar approaches to improving the revenue picture is what my instinct is.